hackers from Hack Quarantine. I'm Claudio Wunder, a community manager at GNOME. I'm very excited to have you here today during this talk. Today we will be talking about how we do communities at GNOME. But before we start, I hope you're safe and healthy right now. And also, I want to introduce quickly what I do at GNOME. I'm a community manager at GNOME. This means that I'm currently managing many of our social medias and platforms like Reddit, Twitter, Discord, Rocket Chat, and others. I also maintain many of our websites and activities that we have at GNOME. For example, the recently published events.gnome.org and also guadec.org. So let's start then. How we do communities at GNOME. But then, first you need to ask yourself, maybe, but communities, what? And maybe following with the question, what is a community? Why I'm asking myself what is a community and why I'm showing this slide right now is because I want to present how we at GNOME believe a community is concepted. So first, I could say that a community is a group of people sharing something in common. For example, on GNOME's case, the communities that are around GNOME are by people that have a single interest, that is, the GNOME project and its technologies. But there are many other examples of communities. For example, one very common is Reddit. Reddit has hundreds of thousands of communities. And one very good example of subreddit, that is how Reddit communities are called, is, for example, the r/whoosh. That is a community basically around it for people that want to publish ironic or sarcastic things. It could be text, a GIF, an image, or a video. Many communities, they exist only with the single purpose of having something around. For example, on GNOME case, GNOME. For example, Linux master race, for example, people that love Linux. But communities doesn't necessarily need to have a goal, an objective, or purpose in order to exist. For example, the subreddit r/whoosh doesn't have really a goal, an objective, and purpose. It's just a lot of people together sharing these GIFs, memes, and videos, and etc. But for example, if you're a student, it happened in your university to exist hacker clubs or student clubs. For example, student clubs are also communities. And a very good example would be, for example, a Linux hacker club, where the commonality of the community is Linux. But that community could have a goal. For example, that goal could be in the end of the semester, the students, they will master about Linux, or for example, how the terminal works, or how to install custom gestures, or stuff like that. So at GNOME, we have also a set of goals and objectives for each of our communities. Then we will go to the next slide, that it's why we need communities. Well, at GNOME, one of the reasons why we need to have communities is to create value. We truly believe that communities and the people that are members of these communities, they create value just by their presence. Because inside communities, you can create bonds. You see, for example, I'm a contributor at GNOME, but I don't work actually at GNOME. And the first time that I was involved with GNOME was also in one of our communities that was going to happen in an activity that GNOME was representing back in Brazil, I guess. So you create bonds between communities and your organizer, that, for example, in this case is the GNOME Foundation, and the communities that surround the organizers, they create bonds with the people. And the bonds, they could be all kinds of bonds. That person in the end could become a contributor, or just someone that, for example, sometimes shares a screenshot of their own setup of Linux with GNOME and how they love using GNOME. You also interact with your user base. This means you can understand and learn valuable things about what your users or your customers on our case of GNOME users need about the project. So without the communities, we won't be able to actually engage with the people and won't be actually be able to, for example, run usability tests, or for example, to have feedback on how they want GNOME to strive in the future. And that's very important for us. Also with communities, we are able to spread the word of GNOME. This means during engagement and outreach activities, going in a conference or organizing a conference, or even, for example, with press releases or announcements or blog posts, we are able to spread what's happening at GNOME, and the users that happen to use GNOME, they are also able to see what's going on. In the end, for example, we are also able to exchange knowledge. For example, on my case, I'm a person that have technology understanding, and I'm able to contribute not only on engagement and outreach, but also by developing some of the GNOME websites. It could also be, for example, you understand Spanish and your friend understands English, and you are able to help on translation and localization of GNOME. So you exchange your knowledge that in this case is the knowledge of Spanish or the knowledge of the Greek language. And this helps the communities and GNOME to strive further. And well, how we can engage with these communities members? Well, by posting news, for example. By social media platforms, we are also able to engage. For example, Twitter, that is one of our most used communication platforms, or Mastodon, that is also an open source alternative to Twitter. We are totally able to reach and announce what is happening inside the GNOME community and inside the GNOME Foundation and the GNOME project and its relative technologies. And this is good because then the people that doesn't necessarily are, for example, inside communication platforms, like for example Reddit, they're able, when just subscribing to our Twitter handle, to understand what's happening and also to communicate with us. Also with marketing. Marketing is something very interesting because we actually at GNOME, we don't run ads. On our case, marketing is defined by, for example, our websites, for the merchandise that create, for the branding that we create, and for example, by sometimes selling t-shirts or stickers or swag that we give in the events, we are able to actually marketize GNOME. And many of our partner companies, for example, Canonical and Red Hat, by they using GNOME and putting, for example, that they use GNOME, users are also able to see, so that's GNOME. And also other companies and blogs, they also can marketize as third parties on our behalf. So mercantise is also a way. I could say that with swag and stickers, t-shirts, it's always an amazing way of representing the brand of GNOME. And we always try to create our brand in a way that actually creates value. With activities, this is one of my favorite ways of engaging with people is through our GUADEC conference. It is our annual global conference, or GNOME Asia, or GNOME Africa, or any Hackfest or meetup that you create. We are able to engage personally in person with our members of our community and also exchange ideas, knowledge, and feedback. So now you probably understand a little bit why communities are important and what exactly are communities, but where GNOME goes in all these things. Of course, I'm talking about GNOME here. So, well, at GNOME we have many communities. Well, I couldn't fit all of the images here, and I couldn't also be able to remember about everything that we do, but we have dozens of different communities. For example, Rocket Chat is one of our recent new additions after many years of being on the IRC platform and unofficially, for example, on Telegram. We are testing out a new platform that is also open source because free software is one of our core values, that is Rocket Chat. And our Rocket Chat instance is running in the last 2 to 3 months, and already we were able to meet and discover many people that also have the willing to contribute to make our Rocket Chat instance better. So it's always an example for how we can expand our horizons. Probably one of our first communities was as Reddit that opened on 2005. I guess I could probably be wrong. We also have a discourse platform. We have Reddit. We also have participation on the Outreach program that was also kind of founded by us. We are part of the Google Summer of Code. We have our GitLab instance. GitLab is also a way to engage with the community. It could be developers trying to create merge requests that could contribute to our code base, people contributing to the documentation, users reporting bugs or feature requests, and developers, contributors, and designers, and the users being able to interact with us. We also have many other communities, for example, the blogs that our contributors maintain at the GNOME Foundation, that is by WordPress. We also have our MediaWiki instance, Mastodon, the desktop summit that is made by our friends at KDE and we at GNOME. So we have many things and many communities, and sometimes it's very hard to manage all of them because we don't have enough people to actually contribute to maintain and moderate these communities. And sometimes it's a really huge challenge to actually moderate and maintain these communities healthy. So in order to be able to manage, moderate, and to grow all our communities, we have an unified team, the GNOME engagement team, that is open for anyone that wants to join also. For example, every member from the GNOME engagement team, they aren't employees at GNOME Foundation. We have some people that are employees, but there are many people like me that are just contributors. So the GNOME engagement team is a unified team that handles everything: marketing, press, web activities, you name it. For example, our annual report that is a way of transparency that we create at the GNOME Foundation, for showing how much we are spending our resources, who are our GSOC students, what we accomplished the last year. So our press releases or new releases, for example, we just released GNOME 3.36 that has huge improvements in many different areas. And we also do these press releases, web pages, including gnome.org, planet.gnome.org, gtk.org, everything that's a website that's part of the GNOME project. We maintain it, or activities. That means hour of in-person conferences and meetups, or swag distribution centers, or online activities. Everything is managed by us. You can read more about the engagement team in our wiki, because I can't actually put everything here on this talk. It would be too much, but I would be happy to engage and talk with each one of you that are interested about getting to know better about the engagement team later after the talk. So our team, the engagement team, more like the engagement family, is divided unofficially in squads, and we are trying to start to make that like more officially divided in squads. One of the first teams that happened to exist inside the GNOME engagement team is the Code of Conduct team. That's basically one of the foundations of the whole GNOME Foundation. Code of Conduct team, it's also the team that it's still also helping a lot in the moderation. Is who creates our guidelines, or community health guidelines, the code of conduct of every single platform. While we are using GNOME, or you're engaging in one of our communities, or you're posting an issue inside our GitLab, the COC team is responsible to guarantee that our communities are following our strict standards, and we have amazing professionals that are working there. Our community team, where I'm part of it, just a second, sorry. Our community team, that, like I said, I'm part of it, we moderate and also maintain most of our community platforms. We have different members, inside this team. So basically the community team, we also maintain the websites, we help in the design, we help in managing and growing our communities. Could be by marketing, by posting tweet posts, and also by helping the moderation team. The moderation team is an effort that we're starting to create right now. It's still in discussion phases, but is about having a dedicated team made by contributors that anyone is able to join if they follow the criteria to help making our communities a safer place. The interest about GNOME is increasing a lot in the latest years, since I believe that Linux is also getting something more common and more popular. There are more people that are actually interested in getting to know about GNOME. So for example, Reddit has more than 40K members, and there's dozens of posts posted every day. We have of Discord, also there's many posts, Twitter. For example, per day on our GitLab, there are days that we happen to open more than 1K issues per day. It's rare, but it already happened. So many people creating hundreds of issues and commenting in hundreds and hundreds of issues per day, and we need to moderate them and keep on track. But mostly the maintainers of the individual projects inside GNOME, they help us also because it's just a huge amount and we can't do it alone. So how we actually make it happen? I mean, is it magic? Maybe I would say that it's magic of the heart, maybe, but actually, on practical terms, sorry, it's not magic. It's actually constant planning. We have meetings every week where everyone is able to join, including people that are not part of the GNOME engagement team. You can just join and give you feedback, give you ideas. So constant planning help us to prioritize what the community needs right now, what's important, what activities should we focus right now. For example, one of our sub-planning meetings that we have is for GWADEC. It happens since from the end of the previous version of the GWADEC until the end of the next edition of GWADEC. It means it never ends. So for example, on this meeting, the GWADEC meeting, we decide to help if you can, for example, sponsor people. Actually, a huge amount of our budget that are for conferences are actually to sponsor scholarships and etc., travel and commodities and hostel and staying luggage, you name it, for people that want to attend and speak and give talks and workshops or conferences, because we believe to create these amazing opportunities to people that many times they can just travel to these different countries or to attend to this amazing experience. This is one of the ways that we use the budget that our sponsors and friends of GNOME give to us to actually give it back to our contributors. Another thing that we do, for example, in the GWADEC planning is, of course, planning the whole event. For example, where it should be, how would be the whole infrastructure of the event, how would be the website, the content, etc. And that's revised many, many, many times. Another thing that is very important, I guess, that happens inside our communities is dive deep. Our communities managers and the people at the engagement team, they are always curious and always trying to create a better experience for the people that are part of GNOME communities, and also to outreach and to explore and invite new people for the communities. Something that is very common to happen is there's a lot of people that want to contribute, but they don't know how to start to contribute, or if they should contribute, or even if they can actually add something, either because they are shy or because many other barriers, communication barriers, or etc. And here at GNOME, we try to nullify these barriers by helping the people to start to contribute and to actually to understand that you can always contribute something. It doesn't matter if you just started your high school or you already have 3 PhDs. You are always have something to add. And that's why we believe that dive deep is something very important. We also have continuous communication since we are basically 100% online, remote. We don't have a physical office, for example, like or many offices around the world. We don't have this thing. We are 100% remote since the very beginning. So continuous communication is always very important to phrase out your ideas, what you want to say, and not just start, for example, discussions with, hi, what if I'm in 7 hours, time zone of difference? Then I answer, hi. And then, well, you see, it will not get anywhere. So continuous communication, and we also help people that are not very experienced in, for example, remote, being 100% remote contributors to learn how to do that. And passion. Passion is something that I could say it's probably the most important thing. We all are here because we want to improve GNOME, and we all are here because we want to have users, Linux users, Ubuntu users, Fedora users, Red Hat users. I really need to name every distro maybe, Pop OS, and okay, this goes on. So we are here because of you, and we want to make you be able to have the best experience, best user experience with something that's 100% made by patient, open source, free, and made for you. So yes, it's kind of magic on the end. So wow, let's go a little bit about numbers from 2018. 2018 was a really amazing year for the GNOME project. And let me explain, for example, some of the stats of our GitLab. So for example, we had 5,344 issues from the GNOME shell opened on 2018. We had 9,717 issues closed, 6,000 merge requests opened, 28,000 merge requests comments, and 7,000 merge requests merged are by contributors that you can see on this list by order of contribution. Of course, these people that are on this list aren't the only ones, but they are the top ones. And I could say that these folks here on this list, they are just amazing. And I'm very happy and glad to have people like them on or as contributors at GNOME, as developers at GNOME. And for example, about conferences and events and stuff, we had 15 unique event locations of our official conferences around the world last year. We had 17 total events attended by our GNOME Foundation staff, and we had 7 conferences attended in 2018, including a conference in Brazil that our board of directors attended. That is, I guess, Campus Party. It was our first time attending that conference. And we had also 10 Hackfests attended by our GNOME Foundation staff, but we had hundreds of Hackfests happening. For example, our GWADEC, that is our main global conference, is happening since 2004, I guess. So we had many years of editions of GWADEC happening, and every year is in a different city. So every year our community is able to also immerse in a different culture from a different city, and usually is hosted inside universities. So finally, I know that I didn't talk a lot about our techniques and methodologies and the exact specific statistics about how we make our communities actually to happen. But I believe that this is so technical that I would prefer talking with you personally if you are excited to actually get to know about that. And if you used GNOME before, if you by chance know what GNOME is or want to get to know about what is GNOME and why I believe it's something very important for the free software communities and also for the Linux universe, well, you can chat me on chat@gnome.org, and I invite you if you want to be part of this huge community, if you're already not. be my guest. I would love to have you there. And wow, this is basically my talk. I guess it was less than a half hour, but this is the content that I had prepared for you. I would be happy to talk also with you on our Hack Quarantine Discord, on Workshops and Talks channel after this talk. And I'm also excited to see all your amazing creations and projects that you will be submitting on the end of Hack Quarantine. Again, everyone, be healthy, stay safe, and see you probably soon in the GNOME communities. Thank you for having me, Hack Quarantine.